Have you ever heard your own voice on a recording and thought, that can't be me? Maybe it was a Zoom call, a voicemail you left, a voice memo you accidentally played back, and the person talking sounded nothing like you. Here's what nobody tells you. That disconnect, it's not random, and it's not just uncomfortable. It's actually hiding real patterns in how you communicate, patterns that change the way people respond to you. I spent 30 days recording myself in every conversation I could, and what I discovered completely changed how I think about my own voice. But the last thing I learned, the one that shifted everything, I'm saving that for the very end. Let me start with something that changed everything for me. I used to think my voice was fine. Honestly, I never even thought about it. I'd talk in meetings, chat with friends, order coffee at the drive-thru, and in my head, I sounded confident, clear, put together. Then one night, I was sitting in my car in the parking lot after work, just decompressing, and I decided to try something. I opened voice memos on my phone, hit record, and just talked about my day, about a conversation I'd had with my manager. Nothing fancy, just me talking for 2 minutes. Then I hit play, and this flat, rushed, almost lifeless voice came out of my phone speaker. I didn't recognize it. It wasn't the voice I heard inside my head. It was faster than I thought, higher than I expected, and the worst part, it had no weight to it, no presence. It sounded like someone who was just trying to get through the sentence as quickly as possible, like someone who didn't really believe what they were saying was worth hearing. I sat there for a minute just staring at my phone, because here's the thing, I'd been talking like that every single day, in every meeting, every phone call, every conversation with my wife when I got home. That was what people had been hearing. Not the version in my head, that version. And nobody ever told me. That's the brutal part. Nobody pulls you aside and says, hey, you sound like you're reading a grocery list when you talk. People just quietly stop paying attention. They nod, they check their phone, they let you finish and move on. So I made a decision. I was going to record myself every single day for 30 days. Not to fix anything yet, just to listen. That's when the real experiment started. And what I found in the first week completely caught me off guard. The first thing that hit me, and I mean really hit me, was speed. For the first 7 days, I recorded everything I could. Work calls, conversations with friends, even just me talking through my to-do list in the car on my commute. And when I played them back, one pattern showed up immediately. I was fast, way too fast. And here's what's tricky about that. In the moment, when I was talking, it felt like energy. It felt like confidence. Like I was sharp, on top of things, keeping the conversation moving. That's what speed feels like from the inside. But from the outside, it sounded like anxiety wearing a costume. I'd listen to myself in a Zoom meeting, pitching an idea to my team, and my words were practically stacked on top of each other. No space between thoughts. No room for anything to land. I sounded like someone who was afraid that if I paused for even half a second, people would lose interest and move on. And the worst part? Sometimes they did. Not because what I was saying didn't matter, but because I never gave them a chance to absorb it. I was already 3 sentences ahead before they'd finished processing the first one. I noticed it at a coffee shop too. I'd order and the barista would lean in and say, "Sorry, one more time?" Not because I was quiet, because I was rushing through my words like I was trying to beat a timer. So around day 7, I tried something different. I called it the 2-second rule. After every complete thought, every point I was trying to make, I forced myself to pause. Just 2 seconds, that's it. Not dramatic, not awkward, just a breath. It felt strange at first, almost uncomfortable, like I was leaving too much dead air. My brain kept screaming, fill the silence, say something, keep going. But when I listened back to the recording from day 10 and compared it to day 1, it was a completely different person. The words had weight, the sentences had shape. Instead of sounding like someone chasing a deadline, I sounded like someone who actually believed what they were saying. Rushed sounds nervous, deliberate sounds certain. And I realized I'd been confusing speed with confidence my entire life. They're not the same thing, not even close. Now here's where it gets interesting, because speed was only the first problem. The second one was something I didn't even know had a name. Monotone. That's the word. And until day 14, I didn't realize I had it. Here's what I mean. I'd be at a dinner party, telling a story, something genuinely interesting that happened at work, and halfway through, I'd notice it. My friend's eyes drifting to the side, someone reaching for their phone under the table, a polite nod that really meant I'm waiting for you to finish. And I used to think the problem was the story, that maybe I just wasn't interesting enough, maybe I needed better material, funnier punchlines, more dramatic details, but that wasn't it at all. When I played back my recording from day 14, I heard it immediately. My voice sounded like a GPS, technically clear, every word was there, but emotionally, dead, flat. It was one single note from start to finish, no peaks, no valleys, no moments where my voice actually matched the emotion of what I was saying. I was telling an exciting story in the most unexciting way possible. And here's why that matters. When your voice stays on one level, the listener's brain does something automatic. It categorizes your voice as background noise. Not a threat, not a reward, just wallpaper. Something to tune out. And that's exactly what people were doing to me. Not because they didn't care, but because my voice was giving them nothing to hold on to. So I started experimenting with something I called highlight words. The idea is simple. In every sentence, you pick 2 or 3 words that carry the actual weight of your point. And when you hit those words, you change something. You go slightly louder, or you drop your pitch, or you slow down just on that one word. Not every word, not constantly, just the ones that matter. It's the difference between saying that meeting was a complete disaster, like you're reading it off a card, and actually letting the word disaster land, letting it drop, giving it room. I practiced this for a week, and then something happened that caught me completely off guard. I was at a happy hour with coworkers telling a story about a client call that went sideways, and for the first time, nobody checked their phone, nobody glanced away. My buddy actually leaned in and said, "Wait, then what happened?" That had never happened before. If any of this is hitting home for you right now, drop a like. It genuinely helps more people find this. Because here's the thing, speed and monotone, those were the technical fixes. Important, yes, but the biggest discovery from this whole experiment wasn't a technique at all. Now here's the thing I promised you at the beginning. Around day 20, something strange started happening. I had the techniques down, I was pausing, I was using highlight words, my recording sounded objectively better than day 1. But something still felt off, forced, like I was performing a better version of my voice instead of actually using it, and I could hear it. There was this thin layer of trying too hard baked into every sentence. Like I was constantly monitoring myself. Am I pausing enough? Did I hit that word right? Do I sound confident yet? I was so focused on sounding like someone worth listening to that I stopped actually saying anything worth hearing. Then day 25 happened. I was on a FaceTime call with my college roommate. We hadn't talked in months, and he brought up something personal, stuff about his marriage, his kids, real things, and I just talked back. No monitoring, no technique. I wasn't thinking about pitch or pace or volume. I was just there, in the conversation, because I genuinely cared about what he was going through and wanted to say something real. I forgot the recording was even running. When I played it back later that night, I sat on my couch and just listened, and for the first time in 25 days, I heard something completely different. The voice on that recording didn't sound polished, it didn't sound practiced, but it sounded true. It had warmth, it had weight. It had the kind of presence that no technique could manufacture. And that's when it clicked. Every voice problem I'd been trying to fix, the speed, the monotone, the flatness, they were never really about technique. They were symptoms. Symptoms of one thing. I was performing instead of connecting. I was trying to sound impressive instead of trying to be honest. The moment I stopped caring about how my voice sounded and started caring about what I was actually saying to another human being, my voice fixed itself. Most people think they need a better voice. They don't. They need a different intention behind the one they already have. Your voice doesn't need to be fixed. It needs to be freed. And that's not something you practice in front of a mirror. It's something you discover the moment you stop performing and start meaning it. 30 days of recording taught me something I never expected. I didn't learn how to fix my voice. I learned how to listen to it. Really listen. Not to judge it or grade it or compare it to some version I wished I had, just to hear what was actually there. And here's what I'd say to you. You don't need 30 days. Just try one. Record one conversation, one phone call, one moment where you're just being yourself. Play it back. Don't cringe, don't criticize, just notice, because the voice you've been hiding from, that's the one people actually want to hear. You don't need a better voice. You just need to stop hiding the one you already have.